Hello? Hello? We have sound? Let's hope we have sound. Oh, you know what? I'm going to grab my headphones. Let's do a little sound test. I need to make sure that we have sound, which I probably should have done before, but that's okay. Hello? 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 Yeah? Are we good? It's kind of quiet. One second. Welcome to my Home Alone watch along, which we'll get started with momentarily. Okay, and I was hoping to have some Christmas lights strung up, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe. You know, I'd love to see somebody invent Christmas lights that don't get tangled. Has that been invented? That's going to look tiny. All right, never mind. Okay, I'm not going to do the Christmas lights. Okay, how we doing? How we looking? Hello? 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 Yeah, it's just not very loud. Yeah. Oh. Oh, that's better. Okay, great. Okay, I can hear myself now. Hi, hello, welcome to the VHS Revolution show. Watch along. I'm David Schumann. And happy holidays. Boy, I really would have liked to have gotten those Christmas lights up, but I don't actually. I have a Christmas shirt. This is red, and it's my High Fidelity shirt, so I thought it was appropriate. Works for me. I do have a Christmas shirt, but it's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And I didn't want to, cross contaminate movies. Maybe I'll wear that for my maybe I'll wear that next year when I do Christmas Vacation. I actually used to have a Home Alone T-shirt that was really awesome. It was like a Kenosha Kickers. It was John Candy's face, and I had it before we moved, and then I don't know where it is. It hopefully is in a box somewhere because it's a great T-shirt. have access to it right now, unfortunately. So the way that these watch-alongs work, is I have just off screen here, I have my lovely TV VCR combo that you've seen on the Instagram account. And I have my VHS of Home Alone, which I will show you momentarily. And I just pop it in and I watch the movie. You watch it along with me. And I kind of comment and talk all about the movie and what I love about it. And that's it. That's what the watch along is. Let's just adjust those a little bit. Oh, that's fine. It's a little glary over there, isn't it? That's okay. I'm still, this account is still in its infancy, so I'm still learning about lighting and color and all that kind of stuff. So welcome. Here we go. Let's do this. So let's play show and tell. Actually, let's start the movie first. This is my VHS of Home Alone. I don't know if this is the original VHS that I've had since 1990 or no, it would be 1991, right? That I bought previously viewed from my local video store, Video Plus. Actually, what does this have? Oh, Pepsi offers you a $5 rebate on the Home Alone video. That's pretty cool. Wow. Amazing. What? Holy collectibles. Poster. Here's the official theatrical one sheet. Like the movie, it's sure to be a classic. Shipped crease-free. Well, that's good to know. $9.95. And a t-shirt. Tell it like it is with this oversized cotton poly shirt. Choose either juvenile or child. $9.95. So this is pretty sweet. And here's the t-shirt and video poster offer. Okay, let's do this. So happy holidays again. We're watching Home Alone, one of my favorite movies, but also after seeing it like 1,000 times, it's also a movie I have issues with. And I will explain those issues. Let's see here. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. So I actually saw Home Alone in the theaters when it opened in November, December of 1990. I saw it with my family, and it was and still is one of the greatest theatrical movie-going experiences of my life. I can still hear the audience laughing hysterically at different parts. I'll point out those parts in the movie when I can still hear the guy behind me just laughing hysterically, and it was just a time where it was just so great to go to the movies. So let's see, 1990, I was like probably 12, about to turn 13. My birthday is December 28th. And it was just kind of one of those great movies that was not expected to be a huge hit, but caught on. And despite the kind of mostly negative reviews, became this huge sensation, like a humongous sensational hit. And I believe it was still in the top 5 well into 1991. Even though it was a Christmas movie, people were still seeing it in February and March of 1991. Macaulay Culkin became a huge star out of it. They made some sequels, and I know that we'll talk about Home Alone 2. I know a lot of people love Home Alone 2. I am not one of those people. I do not love Home Alone 2. I don't even like Home Alone 2, but we'll talk about that. So let's get started with the movie. So I'm going to play the movie now, and I'm going to let you know when the 20th Century Fox. Okay, so here's 20th Century Fox, the logo, so play the movie. And I miss this logo, man. I miss this logo and the 20th Century Studios, it's just not the same. John Hughes production. John Hughes was humongous in the 80s and the early 90s. He's responsible for, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Some Kind of Wonderful, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, all these like really iconic, hugely popular 80s teen movies. And then he kind of slowly kind of branched out into more like family movies. He wrote National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He wrote a bunch of other movies, and he wrote the screenplay for Home Alone. And I was listening to the commentary by director Chris Columbus. And Chris Columbus, his first movie was Adventures in Babysitting, which is a great, fun movie. His second movie was a huge bomb, so he was kind of in director's jail. And then he got this script for Home Alone and decided to make it. And by the way, I've always loved the main titles as they've come together with that little house graphic in the center, and the light pops on. So here we are at the McAllister's house. So anyway, Chris Columbus decided to make it, and it became like the biggest hit of his career until, I guess, maybe Home Alone 2, or maybe then he directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies. So he's a huge director of family movies. So here we are at the McAllister house. The kids are running all over the place. Everybody's everywhere. None of the actors look similar, so it's really hard to tell who belongs to what family. Even today, I'm still really not quite sure if the redheaded kid is part of the family or if he's like a cousin. Yeah. I think the casting of Catherine O'Hara and John Hurd as the parents was so great, because they're actually really great actors, and they're both really, really funny in this movie. And here's Mac talking about Uncle Frank. If Uncle Frank says no, then it must be really bad. I'll wait to talk about how I feel about Uncle Frank. But immediately they establish Kevin as this kind of brat, I guess you could call him. He's like complaining about, nobody let me do anything. He's talking back to his parents. He used the fish hooks. He's kind of a little bit of a smart aleck. So I didn't notice this at first, or even the first 20 times I watched the movie, but once I saw this thing, I could not unsee it. And that is, and Columbus confirmed this on the commentary. He said that he wanted to make the movie feel warm and like Christmas. So the production team literally put red and green in almost every shot in this movie, and it is all over the house. If you look, there's red and green on the wallpaper, on the clothes, on the furniture, on the drapes. There is red and green everywhere. The picture frame, the duffel bags, it's literally everywhere in every frame. Green walls. Kevin's shirt is kind of his plaid shirt is a red and green combo. His sister is wearing a green turtleneck. His brother is wearing a kind of a dark red sweater, red and green. And I never thought it was super obvious, but obviously, like I said, once I saw it, I could not unsee it, and I just kept seeing more and more of it everywhere. But it really is. This movie really is Christmas. It really is. It really is the epitome of Christmas. Look at that. The rug, everything is red and green. Les incompetents. I love that. You're what the French call les incompetents. I think I still say that. I mean, not to people, but I think Macaulay Culkin was kind of the perfect age. I mean, obviously they were looking for an 8-year-old, but he was like just enough of an actor to pull this off, but not mannered enough or trying too hard. There's a couple of little points where it feels a little child actory and forced, but for the most part, he feels really natural and fun. I love this actor who plays Buzz, the asshole brother. I feel like the pitch on Home Alone is perfect. Buzz is just enough of an asshole. It's just sentimental enough and comedic enough, and everything that gets elevated in Home Alone 2 to absurd degrees. But again, I'll save my. Maybe I'll just pepper this with criticism about Home Alone 2. Now we get into Kevin and his brother and the other family member looking out the window at the old man neighbor, the Great Bend snow shoveler, snow shoveler, I don't know. Shovel Slayer, the Great Bend Shovel Slayer. And even though it's what Buzz is saying is absurd and just like a kind of a made up story, when I was a kid, we used to live next to this elderly man who we were terrified of, and he had this like resting mean grumpy face. I can still see it. It was like this, and we used to play baseball in the backyard, and my brother and I and our friends, we would always knock our tennis balls over. There was a big bush separating his yard and our yard, and Buzz used to always go over into his yard, and we used to kind of like go into the bush and try to reach in under the fence to see if we could get the balls, and occasionally we had to knock on the door and ask him, and it was like how Kevin views the furnace, like it's this big monster. I remember going up to his door to knock on the door and just being terrified to ask him to if we could get our ball back. Here's this guy who plays the pizza boy. I don't know why, but for some reason I always thought it was funny when he knocks into the statue and knocks the statue over. The idea that there would be a policeman just like in your house, in the foyer of your house, for what is probably in real time, like at least 10 minutes, and nobody does anything. Even when Peter McAllister talks to him, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, no big deal. There's just a policeman standing in my house. It's kind of ridiculous. But one thing I've noticed about this movie is, other than Kevin's mom and really like maybe Kevin's dad and maybe the old man kind of falls into this. Every adult, basically every character older than Kevin is like a complete idiot. And it bothered me for a long time, like the cop who slams on the door, looking for, check on Kevin. Obviously the burglars, Uncle Frank, like all the relatives, everybody, Buzz, everybody older than Kevin is like a complete asshole or idiot, moron. And I think that that's kind of by design, that mom is like this angelic figure. And eventually the old man becomes that. But I think that's why they kind of overplay the jerkness of Uncle Frank and Buzz and the cops, and because everybody in a kid's world, everybody older is just doesn't get it. Somebody's gonna have to barf it all up because it's gone. I know this movie word for word. Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi. I love that. And that's Kieran Culkin, who just won an Oscar this year for A Real Pain. Okay, Buzz is okay, and then Kevin tackles Buzz, spills the milk all over the tickets. Dad freaks out, and there's a little Easter egg, kind of a hidden thing in this, which is that when Dad throws away the napkins, he accidentally throws away Kevin's ticket. Which I don't really know why they did that, because if Kevin had made it into the car, he wouldn't have been able to get on the plane anyway. So now we have the immortal line, "Look what you did, you little jerk." And of course, nobody says to Uncle Frank, like, "You can't talk to my kid that way, you fucking idiot." But that's the thing, is everybody has to come and everybody has to view Kevin as a nuisance, and Kevin has to see them all as, getting in his way or being inhibiting his fun. 122.50s for, what does he say? 12 pizzas plus $10. I wonder what 12 pizzas would be nowadays. Definitely a lot more. Don't worry about me. I spoke to your husband already. And don't worry about your home. It's in good hands. Now, what's funny about Joe Pesci is that Joe Pesci starred in Home Alone and Goodfellas in the same year. He starred in, and I mean, it's probably just a coincidence, but it's kind of an amazing thing that basically his two most famous movies, other than maybe Lethal Weapon 2, came out in the same year. Lethal Weapon 2 came out in 1989, and then in the spring of 1990, Goodfellas comes out, and then in November 1990, Home Alone comes out, and then he wins the Oscar for for Goodfellas in 1991. And then he kind of becomes this major actor who goes on to be the lead for the next 3-4 years, 5 years, and continues showing up in the Lethal Weapon sequels, and he's in Home Alone 2, and he's in Casino in 95. And then he kind of stepped away for a long time and popped up kind of occasionally in De Niro's film The Good Shepherd and in The Irishman, the Scorsese movie from a couple of years ago, with De Niro and Pacino and Harvey Keitel. It was like a big Scorsese reunion. More classic lines. I hope I never see any jerks again. Again, if you look for it in this upstairs attic, there's more red and green. It's all just, sometimes it's kind of subtle. It's not super obvious, but the red and green that's everywhere in this movie is pretty amazing. I mean, even the outside of the house is red. The trees are green. I love the storm and this kind of swooping zoom in or dolly in on the wreath on their door. And so then the tree branch breaks, knocks out the power lines, knocks out the power, alarm clocks go off. And that's like a good, clean setup for why they, are scrambling to get to the airport and why they kind of misplace Kevin. The setup for this movie is really, really good and kind of airtight. It's like the alarm clocks don't work. They sleep in. They're scrambling, running all over the house. We'll get to it in a few minutes, but the neighbor kid shows up. He's in the van looking through their stuff, and he gets accidentally counted as Kevin. I love this montage of everybody running around the house trying to get packed and get ready and get dressed. Yeah, we had a neighbor kid, Greg Street, who reminded me, my mom mentioned that this kid reminded her of Greg Street. He was never as much of a pain as the kid in this movie. But but it's like one of those things that like your parent says that just like sticks in your head forever. So every time I see this kid, I always think of Greg Street. Heather, do a head count. Make sure everyone's in the van. That's up to Heather. And are we on? What happened? What's going on here? Nobody's here. I don't know where everybody is. You guys are missing out, man. Okay, so then this is great. So I love this. This is 1990. I don't even remember traveling that much before 9/11. And so I don't know how easy it would have been to get to an airport, to the plane in 45 minutes. I don't know what distance they are from the airport. Uh, but the movie the editorially makes a great choice by going just essentially from like think positive, Frank, you be positive, I'll be realistic. Oh yeah, and so then you have this guy saying the power lines are down. So that means that the power lines are down or the telephone lines are down, so there's no calls. So that's like another obstacle to them reaching Kevin. So now you go from a partridge in a pear tree, the vans are taking off, and you just cut to them at the airport running. And Columbus said that they shot in a real working airport. And at the time, they could do that because none of them were really stars. Macaulay Culkin was not a star at this point. So they could all run through the airport um, easily. And then, but then when they shot Home Alone 2, it was a whole different story. Macaulay Culkin was a huge star by then and was being hounded for autographs and things. So then they get to the gate after the door has closed, but they still manage to catch the lady just opens the door and they just find whatever random seat is available. That's not really how things work unless you fly Southwest. But even then, still, it feels like there's absolutely no way. Even if you lived like across the street from the airport, they stop letting people. They like stop letting people in like after a certain time, or they shut down the check-in uh desk, right? Like 45 minutes before the flight anyway. So unless you're stuck in security, there's no way that anybody would make this flight. Anyway, logic aside, it's 1990. It was a different time. I love the shots of Kevin waking up, opening the door. He's like this little mop top. His hair is all messy, and he's just kind of walking around because, as far as when you're a little kid and you kind of wake up and you're kind of groggy, and as you can see, I'm going to keep pointing this out. Peppered throughout the house. The pots are red. The countertop is kind of a bluish green. There's little Christmas decorations everywhere that are red and green. It's kind of everywhere, and yet somehow it doesn't stand out as this like totally obvious um, choice. Yeah, look at that. The drapes are red, red, green, rollers. I love this edit from Kevin saying "mom" to the roar of the airplane. That's a great little editorial choice. Um, and then Uncle Frank trying to steal the salt and pepper shakers. He's really the worst. Uncle Frank is really the worst. He's one of the worst people ever put in a movie. Oh yeah, we're not at Kevin yet. The realization. Are we? Yeah, no, we're not there yet. So then Kevin thinks he made his family disappear. Um yeah, it was great. It was great. A great idea to muss up Kevin's hair. And what's great also about this scene, this sequence of Kevin wandering around the house, is that we get introduced or reintroduced to all the different rooms in the house that we will eventually get to later in the movie. We go into Buzz's room. We see more of Buzz's room. We go down into the basement. We see the stairs. It's a really great kind of directorial choice to show us more of the house in this sequence. Oh yeah, and this is where I think he sees the furnace for the first time. Not for the first time, but he sees the furnace again and gets scared of it. Yeah, so you hear it. And I had a basement in my house growing up. I grew up in Vancouver, Canada. And we had a basement. And as I got older, my bedroom eventually went in one of the rooms in the basement. But I do remember this experience of going down to the basement when I was younger, and it was dark, just kind of like this basement. And I was scared, I was scared. Why do I keep getting this? Am I having connection issues? Because that would suck. Cars are still here. They didn't go to the airport. Okay, so now Kevin's like replaying the events of last night.
I made my family disappear. Kevin, completely helpless.
And I guess I used to think like, oh, well, that's not how the characters said their lines. Like, but that's how Kevin remembers it. He remembers it as like people leaning, sounding really mean. Look what you did, you little jerk. And at first he's like scared, and then he's like, yes, I made my family disappear. This is amazing. Yow! And he's like jumping on the bed, he's eating junk food. And it's kind of like the little kid fantasy. I remember Siskel and Ebert, when they reviewed Home Alone, they gave it a negative review. And I think that they just took the movie too seriously, because they were, Siskel was like, why don't they show us what it really would be like if a kid was left home alone? And I'm sure that you could make an entertaining movie by being a little bit more realistic, but this is like a fantasy. It's a fantasy. And then for some reason, and then they gave a negative review to Home Alone 2. And then for some reason, even Gene was shocked by this. Ebert gave a positive review to Home Alone 3, which is insane. That's insanity, giving a positive review to Home Alone 3. And Siskel's argument was like, everything that Ebert was saying that he liked about Home Alone 3 was the same as what they did with the first movie and the second movie. I will never understand that. Sometimes those guys gave positive reviews or negative reviews to movies that were classics, were great movies that have gone on to be enduring classics. It's just, just how they viewed the movies of the time. And again, we're like setting up all these little things that Kevin has this BB gun. He's shooting what were those called? What were those sports figures called? I cannot remember. I don't know why no one's here. This is very confusing. The first teaser for Avengers Doomsday was released. Well, hallelujah. We're not going to get into that. All right. Oh, so now he's watching the movie Angels with Dirty Faces. And let me just see if anybody commented or anything. Nope. Nothing from nobody. All right, fine. And I love this. They had to shoot this movie within a movie. And look, the bowl of ice cream and marshmallows and whatever Kevin is eating looks like disgusting, but also amazing. And so he gets scared by this scene in the movie where the guy takes the machine gun and blows away the other guy, Johnny. And it's shot, in this kind of black and white style of these old movies. And there's, it's probably, now that I think about it, way more violent than movies would have been at that time. But it's okay. Keep the change, you filthy animal. Keep the change, you filthy animal. It sets up a really funny gag that is totally implausible, but pulled off really well and really funny. Oh yeah, so now Kevin yells mom, and editorially they do this great kind of transition where they have his mom echo out to the parents on the airplane, and mom kind of gets worried that they forgot something.
Did you lock up? Yeah. Did you close the garage?
I forgot to close the garage. That's it. I like the little thing that John Hurt does. Like, oh well. And the way that they kind of stretch this moment out is really nice. What else could we be forgetting? We sit with mom for a moment, and then she realizes. And that's such a great shot as she leans into the camera and says Kevin directly into the screen. There's like a few moments in this movie where people kind of scream or say something directly kind of at the audience. And in this movie, it really works. Okay, so Kevin is now bundled up. He's on his sled at the top of the stairs. But you see very clearly from the point of view that the stairs do not line up with the doorway. And yet he flies down those stairs and right out the doorway as if it's no big deal. But really, he would have flown down the stairs and smacked right into the wall, which could have been funny. So he does that little sled thing, and then we're back on the plane. Okay, this is the only time I like Uncle Frank, where he says, if it makes you feel any better, I forgot my reading glasses. That's funny. That's funny. But that's the only and funny. We're with the burglars, Harry and Marv, and we realize that that cop was not a cop at all. He was a burglar scoping out houses, and now he's relaying what he's learned about all the houses in the neighborhood. That apparently all have timers for their lights to turn on. That's cool. The way that they do it is they do it in the way he does it in threes. He says, right about now, right now, now. And then the third house is the McAllister house. What I like about casting Joe Pesci, especially coming off of Goodfellas, is that he's giving a comedic performance, but because of what we've seen of him, not just in Goodfellas, but in Raging Bull, there is a little bit of a menace to him and a threat. So we don't really know what he's capable of, even in this genial, Christmas family comedy. Daniel Stern is the bigger doofus of the two. But I think Daniel Stern is really, really funny in Home Alone and gives a really, really funny comedic, physical comedy performance. We're back to the red and the green. The chips are red and green. The plates are red and green. So this is the first time that the burglars show up. And what does Kevin do? He just turns on the lights, right? And so the movie was essentially sold on everything that happens in the last 30 minutes of the movie. All the pratfalls and Kevin protecting his house. But the movie really builds to that in a nice way. It doesn't feel like the thing I love about this movie is that it doesn't feel like we're just like waiting to get to the good stuff. The whole movie is full of good stuff. And I think that's really a big reason why it works so well. And it really is. It really is a movie that I love watching every Christmas season. The snow and the red and the green and the Christmas songs and just everything about it feels like Christmas. I mean, look at this. Kevin's under the bed, his parents' bed. His parents' bed is entirely red. Their wallpaper is red and green. The movie is wall to wall, red and green Christmas. All right, so now they're at the airport in Paris, and they're repeating the John Williams music of them running through the airport, trying to figure out how to get to Kevin. So I guess mom is kind of the B story, right? As she's making her way back to Kevin, and the A story is Kevin and the burglars, and they sync up kind of really nicely as mom kind of runs into obstacle after obstacle. Nobody can help her, and that's kind of why she's the only other like good adult, because I mean, I guess John Candy. I'm forgetting John Candy. John Candy's great. Oh yeah, this is so great. Kevin runs out. He says, "I'm not afraid anymore." And then we get the first of his many screams. And I really wonder how the Macaulay Culkin scream came about. I don't know if they addressed that in the commentary, but he gives great scream. Oh yeah, this is the most iconic scream, where he runs in the house, he goes up the stairs, and then again he runs and screams directly into the camera. Yeah. And these are moments that are like perfect for the trailer. Mom screaming Kevin screaming into the camera. The movie is simple but not stupid. So now mom's calling the cops, and we get a nice intercut here between Kevin dealing with actually kind of being home alone, and mom dealing with trying to get back to Kevin. I love this actor. I forget what his name is. Okay, I have to look at it as a shot. He played Kramer on the Seinfeld show within the show. When they got the show on NBC, he played the Kramer character in Jerry. I can't remember his name right now. You want us to go to your house just to check on him? Yes. Larry Hankin. Larry Hankin. I saw Larry Hankin one time at a Whole Foods. He was just, doing his thing. And I wish that I had the guts to go up to him and tell him how much I love him, but I didn't. I just let him be. Let him do his thing. I love Catherine O'Hara here as she just yells into the phone. Oh yeah, I always remember when she takes the phone from the French woman, and then she says, hello. Oh, she'll have to call you back. My mom laughed, had a big laugh at that line, and I still hear her laugh every time Catherine O'Hara says that in the movie. Oh yeah, so now you got the idiot cop, one of many idiot cops, who is asked to go to a house to check on a 8-year-old boy who is home alone. And what does he do? He slams on the door like he's trying to bust a drug den, and then he gets on the fucking radio and says, "Tell them to count their kids again." Like, fuck you, officer. Thanks for nothing. This is Hope Davis, an early performance from Hope Davis as the French airline attendant. Hope Davis went on to tons of movies and TV roles. She was in American Splendor. That's what I always think of her. One of her great performances. I love Hope Davis affecting a French accent.
on an airplane. I don't remember anything again. Now, if you want to stay at the airport, maybe we can get you on standby. It is a possibility that the seat will open up. Okay. Yes.
Bells will be ringing. You know, Chris Columbus kind of gets some flack, even by me, for being, you know, kind of a generic director, but he does a great job with this movie. He really, this long shot of the family leaving and mom just kind of there in the corner waving by, is great. It's the kind of perfect visual choice to show mom's kind of loneliness. Okay, so now you have this great scene with Kevin after talking to himself in the mirror, combing his hair and putting on the aftershave. And as a kid, I didn't get the aftershave joke about how it burns. And really, it wouldn't burn his cheeks if he didn't shave. Because it doesn't burn. It doesn't burn if you just put it on, you know, unshaven skin. But that's okay. It's a funny joke, and it just gives him another opportunity to scream. So now he's in Buzz's room. He's climbing this mountain of a shelf that Buzz has with the tarantula to kind of get to what? Buzz's container of money, I think. Yeah. Cut to stuntman falling. Cut back to Macaulay Culkin as Kevin. Okay. Buzz's life savings, which doesn't look like it's that much. Buzz's entire life savings looks like $50. But you know, Buzz is kind of a lazy asshole, so maybe he didn't do anything except like mow some lawns or something. And then you see the first shot of the spider escaping, which will pay off again later. Oh, yes. So then Kevin sees the van parked in the neighbor's driveway, and it's Harry and Marv breaking into the neighbor's house, the Murphys. Oh yeah, it was really great seeing this movie as a kid. And you know, I guess I saw Home Alone when I was 12, and then Home Alone 2 came out when I was 14, probably 13 or 14. Yeah, 92. And I just hated it. I didn't even like it then. I thought it was stupid. But I know a lot of people who saw Home Alone 2 when they were a kid, and they unabashedly love it. And think it's great. And I just don't. It's stupid. Like, a lot of shit happens to Harry and Marv in this movie, but they don't get electrocuted. They don't get bricks dropped on their heads from 2 stories up or 4 stories up. They don't, you know, the level of insanity that happens to them in Home Alone 2 is just too much. Their bodies would literally be disintegrated for all the shit that happens to them. Okay, so here's the toothbrush scene. So Kevin goes in to I got a question about a toothbrush. And I swore this actor who plays Herb, the convenience store owner or something, looks just like John Hurt. And I wondered if he was related to John Hurt, but he's not. So then you have the old man, and he's seen through Kevin's eyes. So he looks tall and menacing and slams his hand down on the counter. But now you get the whole thing with the toothbrush and shoplifting. Okay. And then so Kevin runs out. He's scared of the old man. And then you get fucking Jimmy, who runs after Kevin. And then he calls out to the cop, shoplifter, And then you have yet another fucking moron cop who's too fat to run fast. You can't catch up to Kevin. Look at him. He's a big fucking dope. Falls on the ice. So he's like barely running. He's like barely trying to catch the kid. But then you have this great little moment where Kevin goes on the ice and slides on his knees and he goes between the guy's legs and Macaulay Culkin almost cracks up. It's a cute little moment. But look at the big dopey fat cop who eats too many donuts and got outrun by this kid. It's so fucking stupid. Red and green again on the train as Kevin runs across the bridge. Train passing has red and green. I think that there's something going on with the live stream because nobody's like a couple of people have shown up, but I keep getting this flash of some connection issue. But I don't know what the issue is. So that's the way it goes. Everybody can watch it on replay. Okay, so now we're back to Harry and Marv breaking into another house. Or is this still? Are they still at the Murphys? Like maybe they're leaving the Murphys. By the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but the little transition where Harry, Joe Pesci is looking through that kaleidoscope and he twirls the kaleidoscope and we see the kaleidoscope dissolve into the next shot. It's great. It's a great transition. Okay, so now we get the explanation of the Wet Bandits. We're the Wet Bandits. Okay, and now we get another Kevin screaming moment. I didn't realize how in quick succession these Kevin screams are. Okay, the only way they could have shot that is in reverse, right? Because if you look at the weird way that Kevin's mouth moves, the only way that they could have shot that is to have the van start in front of him with his mouth open, and then he closes his mouth and the van kind of backs up, right? And then they reverse the shot so it looks like because there's no way that they would have trusted a stunt driver to stop mere inches from an 8-year-old actor's body. So Kevin looks at Harry. He sees the glistening, the shining gold tooth, which reminds him of the gold tooth that he saw on the cop at the house. I don't understand Harry and Marv's confusion in this scene. Like, they're like, why would this kid look at me weird? You're a stranger. You're a fucking creepy adult. Like, he's an 8-year-old kid. Like, you're just following him in your creepy van, guy. Like, of course he's going to be scared. Of course he's going to run. Stupid. I told you something's wrong. Why would he run? Stupid. But then you get to the church and the establishing the church as a location that will come into play later. And I love this this little bit of Kevin hiding in the nativity scene. It's really kind of clever. But great movies, you know, I mentioned this when I did the Back to the Future watch along. Great movies are all about setup and payoff. Setting up the church, setting up the basement, setting up all of Kevin's toys and gadgets, setting up all of these things that will pay off later in the movie. And that's what makes a great movie. That's what makes for a very satisfying movie watching experience, whether we realize it in the moment or not. Okay, when those guys come back, I'll be ready. So now we get the second time that Harry and Marv show up to the house. Now Kevin is prepared. He's set up this whole party scenario. And honestly, every time I hear this song, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, I think of this scene. And And I think that the Kevin's ingenuity is just believable enough. I don't know why they have all these mannequins and all this stuff in their house, but it's just kind of believable enough that he would tie the string to the mannequins and have put Michael Jordan on the train and have the other mannequin on the record player. It doesn't feel totally outside of what's actually possible in somebody's house. And I guess it's enough to convince Harry and Marv that there's people at the house. Fashion. So apparently all the shots of the plane, all the shots of Paris were stock shots that they didn't have a big enough budget to actually go to Paris or shoot an airplane. So they just got stock footage and used it. And the budget of the movie in 1990 was like what, 30 million or something, which even at that time was not considered like a huge movie. We think of it as this like, a ginormous movie because it made so much money and was such a huge hit. But I'm sure the budget of Home Alone 2 was a lot more. But see, the two Home Alones, the first and the second movie came out within 2 years of each other, but then Home Alone 3 didn't come out until 1997. So by that point, and it was a huge bomb. It was like nobody cares at that point. There's no, and it's a different kid, different family. There's really no relation to the first movie that I know of other than the title. Okay, I love this moment with Buzz. You're not at all scared. No, for 3 reasons. A, I'm not that lucky. 2, we have smoke detectors. And D, we live in the most boring in the United States of America. Well, nothing even remotely dangerous will ever happen. Period. And then you get the pizza guy knocking over the statue again. It's just funny. It's just funny. A statue getting knocked over is funny. I don't know why. Maybe it's kind of like the whole like football to the nuts. It's just a funny thing. All right, back door, please. Here we go with what was maybe the biggest laugh in the movie up to that point. And it's the pizza guy in the back door and Kevin using the audio from the movie to talk to him. I mean, it makes no sense when you think about it, even for a second, because the pizza guy has to say, "What about the money?" to work with the dialogue from the Angels with Dirty Faces dialogue. But it's fine because it gets to this machine gun payoff thing. And I never noticed this at first, but Kevin puts the humongous stereo speakers on the kitchen counter so that the sound really travels through the door. This was so funny. And oh my God, I cannot even tell you this hysterical laughter coming from the audience when the guy fires the machine gun and the pizza boy gets so scared. And it feels like they play more machine gun fire in this scene and in later when he plays it than was actually in the movie. But that's okay. It was a huge laugh. A lovely cheese pizza just for me. I say that all the time, even if I'm not eating cheese pizza. I do like saying, "Did anyone order me a plain cheese?" anytime we're having pizza. And I've taught my daughter that whenever I say, "Did anyone order me a plain cheese?" she has to say, "Yeah, we did. But if you want some, somebody's gonna have to barf it up because it's gone." Okay, so back to Mom, and she's trying to get the elderly couple to trade their tickets, which apparently was a thing that you could do in 1990. You could just exchange tickets. Okay, great.
I'm begging you. From a mother to a mother, please.
See, look at this. Catherine O'Hara is really great in this scene. She's really sweet.
Please.
I mean, she really does have that kind of like sweet, honest desperation of a real mom. And that's part of what gives you those feels in the movie is that. And then no, so that's nice. So then I never even really noticed that. You then cut from mom to Kevin, and this is the first moment that Kevin kind of feels sad and kind of misses his family. He looks at the family photo. And I think this is the first time where we start to hear Somewhere in My Memory, the John Williams song in the score. It's just hinted at. It's just played a little bit. I think the song was the only nomination the movie got. Let's look at this. My trusty Oscars app. Then you got Kevin back in the front of the mirror. I don't know why they repeated this gag, but it works again. Maybe to get another Kevin scream in there. I guess I never realized how many times Kevin screams in the movie. Oh, and back to the spider. Okay, so let's see here. Song. Somewhere in My Memory from Home Alone. Oh, so it was nominated for the song and for John Williams' score. When I listen to Christmas music every year, every holiday season, I include Somewhere in My Memory and some of the Home Alone score in my musical rotation. I'd say it's up there. John Williams is like truly an incredible composer, and he's done scores for Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Superman, E.T., Home Alone, Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List, Harry Potter. Just a composer who's done some incredibly iconic, enduring classic scores. And I think he's done the scores for every one of the Star Wars movies except Giacchino did Rogue One, right? And John Powell did Solo. So the only two that weren't done by Williams were like the Star Wars story movies. I don't think he's doing the Mandalorian and Grogu score. I have to kind of check on that. Maybe he's doing the Star Wars Starfighter score, but we'll see. This is another moment with a dumb adult where the checker at the grocery store asks Kevin for all this information that nobody would ever ask. And look, she's wearing red and green as well. There's red and green all over the store, the wrapping paper. I don't know why those bags would break as Kevin's walking home, but it's kind of a cute little gag. There's all these cute little gags sprinkled throughout the movie, and the bags ripping is kind of funny. I like how he's doing laundry, and he's like, it's a nice contrast from Kevin, who was jumping and all over the house and eating junk and watching rubbish, as he says, to now he's like grocery shopping and being responsible and doing the laundry and taking care of the house. Oh yeah, and now he's like standing up to the furnace and like facing his fear of the furnace, telling the furnace to shut up, and does a little head nod. So do you think Harry and Marv stole that van, or they took a van and then created a fake business to put on the side of the van? Something I've never thought of until this moment. All right, now. All right, so they're back at the house, and we now kind of upping the stakes a little bit as Marv goes to check it out. I love this little thing with his shoe. His shoe falls off when he sticks it through the dog door. And then Kevin just like plays the dialogue from the movie. And there you see the speakers. Oh yeah, and then he gets the firecrackers and puts them in the pot to scare Daniel Stern and again, huge laugh from the audience. It's like it's almost like, it's not rocket science. It's just like do the thing that is gonna make people laugh. It seems so simple now, but it really worked. And maybe we were just simpler. It was a simpler time. Maybe we're just easier to please back then. Here we go. 1, 2, 10. Oh yeah, the firecrackers. And this is the scene that I think that they extend the gunfire. Yeah. There's not that much gunfire when Kevin watches the movie. So, keep the change, you filthy animal. That's the line from Home Alone. But all these like t-shirts and posters and memes and things that say Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, that's from Home Alone 2. He doesn't say Merry Christmas, you filthy animal in the first movie. He says, keep the change, you filthy animal. So that's just lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. Snakes. I don't know no snakes. So this was look at this. Look at this. I don't know if you can see this here, but the side has this little Pepsi logo. This little proof of purchase Pepsi logo on the side. This was one of the like huge VHS releases back in 1991. I think the movie came out in 90, and then the movie came out on video for, I believe, a Christmas release. So it's like we had to wait like 6-8 months after the movie left theaters to get it on video. And there were Blockbuster had tons and tons of copies. Every video store had tons and tons of copies, and it became a previously viewed video actually quite quickly. And I think we bought it previously viewed for like $10, because I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the day when a movie was released on video, it was $20. So then you had to pay $20 for every video, unless you bought it previously viewed, and then you could buy it for $10. Okay, so now Catherine O'Hara, we're back with Mom at the airport, and there's no flights available. She's dirty, and we get our introduction to John Candy, the great John Candy, who's so sweet and so funny, just so wonderful in this little cameo. Is John Candy in the... I don't think he's in the credits. I think that was a... Yeah, he's not in the credits. He's not in the opening title credits either. I think that was meant to be kind of a surprise. Oh, yeah, this is so great. Allow me to introduce myself. Gus Polinski, Polka King of the Midwest. Polka King of the Midwest. Eh? The Kenosha Kickers? Nothing. I like how he just goes on this tangent about we had some fairly big hits. Polka, 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 polka. Twin Lakes polka, Amahuji polka, a polka, kiss me polka, polka twist. I love that little dance that he does. I haven't seen the John Candy documentary yet, but I really would like to very soon. He was just so great on screen. And he wasn't, not every movie he made was a hit, but he was always just so great to see, even in dramatic roles. He was in one of his last roles. Well, not one of his last roles, but was in JFK. He has a serious role in JFK, and it's like it's so good that it's so frustrating because you just wonder, like, had he lived, what other great dramatic roles could he have been, like a Bill Murray type actor later in life, where he actually ends up being this really great dramatic actor who also can imbue his roles with a comedic sweetness. I don't know. It's sad. I mean, it's sad because a human died, not just because we missed out on some great performances, but also for that reason. So now we're back with Kevin. We're back with him sawing a tree to be his Christmas tree. I mean, he is very resourceful. Let's do some show and tell. So as I showed you my VHS for Home Alone. I have the VHS for Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Also directed by Chris Columbus. Also written and produced by John Hughes. It was like the same people. John Williams did the score. Same editor, same producers, director of photography. I like this little bit with Kevin decorating the tree, and you see the reflection of Joe Pesci in the ornament, and then he tries to say, "Dad, can you come here and help me?" There's a really great progression with Harry and Marv and Kevin throughout the movie, building up to them breaking in. And I'll admit, this is a great poster. Harry and Marv peeking from behind the Empire State Building, and Kevin with the newspaper. It's good shit. And I wanted to like Home Alone 2, but it was such a stupid carbon copy of the first movie. You have like the homeless woman who's like the elderly person who's scary at first, but turns out to be really sweet and have her own sweet story. All the adults are idiots. Of course, the hotel staff is complete fucking idiots who don't know how to treat a child. Tim Curry and Trump is in it, and and all the pratfalls are like fucking jacked up to 11, and it's just, there's a little Rob Reiner shout out there. Yeah, I just hate Home Alone 2. I hate it. It's stupid. The family is stupid. Catherine O'Hara has like maybe the worst haircut in movies ever in Home Alone 2. I have an idea for Home Alone 2 that I think could have been great if they were at all interested in doing something even remotely different, but I'll tell you about that later. So here's Kevin going to see Santa. He's like, "I know you're not the real Santa, but I also know you work for him," which is cute. And he asks for his family back. I also have the VHS for Home Alone 3. Roger Ebert's favorite movie of 1997. Which again, yeah. So it actually, I'm wrong. So it has the same cinematographer, Julio Macat, as the first two movies. John Hughes produced it and wrote it. He wrote Home Alone 3. Oh my God. That must have been a tough time. And Home Alone 3 was directed by Raja Gosnell, who was the editor on the first two movies. Raja also directed Never Been Kissed and the Scooby-Doo movies. I don't know what he's up to these days, but just look at this fucking, I don't know. I was like, there were so many great movies in 97, especially November, December. LA Confidential, Good Will Hunting, As Good as It Gets, Titanic, that I had no time for Home Alone 3. I also have the movies on Blu-ray. And they have a lot of special features. And actually, I think I have the DVD as well. No, I just have the Blu-ray. I think I just have the Blu-ray for Home Alone 2, which maybe it doesn't. Maybe the Home Alone 2 doesn't have any special features on this Blu-ray, but the first movie does. It has the commentary by Chris Columbus and Macaulay Culkin, as well as a bunch of like behind-the-scenes featurettes and things like that. Yeah, I used to free up space. I used to kind of combine my Blu-ray and DVD collection. So I think I got rid of the Home Alone box, but I kept the disc, and then I just kind of fit it into the Blu-ray box. Oh yeah, so now we're back to Somewhere in My Memory, and it's a bigger, more fuller version of the song, as Kevin is kind of sad and he's walking and sees the family in the window, and it's really nice the way Kevin like experiences genuine sadness and loneliness and misses his family. And now we're back at church. He's kind of found his way to church and decides to go in, and this is a kind of a turning point scene. Macaulay Culkin is really great in all these scenes. He just has such a sweet face and really expressive eyes, and he really doesn't have to do very much. So now you get the choir singing to very few people. You would think that these kids' parents would be there watching them sing, but there's really nobody there. You got the red and green of the poinsettias and the red of their choir, I forget what they're called, uniforms. I know that that's wrong. You got this great shot of Kevin walking down the aisles, and sitting in his seat. And the movie is not religious at all. I feel like he walked into the church. Maybe it's part of his life, his family life. Maybe they are a church-going family. But it's kind of like Kevin at this point in the movie is kind of looking for some sense of like help or rescue. He goes up to that Santa. He ends up in church, and now he sees the old man. And the old man is very scary at first in this kind of low angle shot. And then I love that little frown that Kevin does when the guy says Merry Christmas. And then he sits down with him, and we finally learn the story of the old man. And that actor, Roberts Blossom, is just actually really great in this character. I don't know any other movies he was in. Let's see. Roberts Blossom. He died in 2011. Oh, he was in, let's see here, The Quick and the Dead, Doc Hollywood, Always, Last Temptation of Christ. Did a lot of TV. Christine, Escape from Alcatraz, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's interesting.
Sometimes I even think I don't.
How you feel about your family is a complicated thing.
Kind of great about this scene is that you're learning about the old man, and you're learning a little bit more about Kevin. It's also a scene about the theme of the movie of family. And it's not subtle. It articulates, you know, how we feel about our family, and gets into his backstory, which my dad always thought that was kind of ridiculous, that an old man would just give up his whole backstory to this little kid neighbor of his. Thought it was kind of unbelievable, but it's okay. It never had a problem with it. I thought it always worked for me. And that's probably because Robert Blossom is so good in this role. I also have the CD of Home Alone, the CD soundtrack, which I think I bought, not new. Look, even the case broke. I still keep my CDs, even though we have Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube. I don't know why. I feel like there are still things that are not available. There are definitely things that are not available on Spotify, and there's definitely CDs that I have that maybe even aren't on YouTube or are hard to find.
Then you can stop worrying about it, and you won't have to be afraid anymore. I don't care how many hours I talk to my dad, especially around the holidays.
I love this scene between Kevin and the old man, as he kind of like teaches the old man something. I love this thing he says about the dinosaur pajamas.
My grandparents said that. They were shipping clothes. Last year I got a sweater with a big bird in it.
Well, that's nice.
Not for a kid in the second grade. You could get beat up for wearing something like that. I got a friend who got nailed because there was a rumor he wore dinosaur pajamas.
I better bring along home where you belong. You think about what I said. Huh?
Okay.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you. Macaulay Culkin, before Home Alone, was in Uncle Buck the previous year, which I think was, let's just double check. I don't want to. It was also a John Hughes movie. I don't know if he directed Uncle Buck. 1989, John Candy as Buck. And a great, so John Hughes wrote and directed Uncle Buck the previous year. So they already knew. So Chris Columbus did this like nationwide search for the right actor for Kevin, and then eventually they kind of remembered Macaulay, or brought in Macaulay, and he had to audition like everybody else, and he nailed it. Was he in anything else before Uncle Buck? Let's see here. Wait. Actor.
This is my house.
Okay, and so now we're getting into this my house, I have to defend it. He's preparing. He knows that the burglars are coming back at 9:00. He's got this whole battle plan blueprint thing, which is great, which he, if you pause and look at it, he drew it with crayon, and some of the letters are backwards, and it's like very much how an 8-year-old would draw it, or meant to look like how an 8-year-old would draw it. Okay, so Macaulay Culkin in 1985 was on a show, uncredited Halloween Kid. He was on an episode of The Equalizer in 88, See You in the Morning in 1989, Uncle Buck in 89, Jacob's Ladder. He was uncredited in Jacob's Ladder in 1990, and then Home Alone in 1990. And then the next year he was in My Girl, which is another kid classic. Then 92, Home Alone 2. 93, The Good Son, where he played a evil kid. Not good. Not a good movie. Not a good performance at all. He was not skilled enough at the time to play a villain. 93, he was also in The Nutcracker. He was in the Michael Jackson Black or White music video, which was for some reason like a huge deal at the time. Like the music video got like a worldwide premiere. 94 was not so successful. He was in a movie called Getting Even with Dad with Ted Danson, and this animated movie, The Page Master, and Richie Rich, all in 94. And then that was it. That was it. He wasn't in another movie until 2003. I know he went through a lot of struggles with his dad. His dad was like also his manager, and caused a lot of issues for the family. The parents got divorced. It was a whole thing. He doesn't even talk to his dad anymore. He gave an interview recently, I think with Josh Horowitz for Happy Sad Confused, where he talked about his relationship with his dad. All right, so then he's about to eat his mac and cheese. The clock bell rings, and these burglars are quite punctual. I mean, they really show up when they say they're going to show up. They show up at 9 o'clock. And the pratfalls begin with the BB gun to the nuts. You know, it's like in this kind of movie, a BB to the nuts, anything to the nuts is funny. And they have to, and Pesci and Stern really have to. This is where they go big with their reactions. I love this. I love this angle on Daniel Stern and this shot of Kevin. And again, looking directly into the camera, Kevin shoots a BB right at Stern's head. It's like everybody gets their look in the camera moment. I think Pesci's is when his hair gets set on fire. Oh yeah, this is good. This is kind of a light laugh but at this point the audience was primed, right? So they were primed for like big laugh after big laugh. So even something as dumb as Pesci slipping on the steps was funny. And this is where the movie kind of goes big with the like big falls. I love Stern in this when he slips on the stairs and kind of slides down the steps, and then he has this moment, and then he's ow. he's great. And I love this thing with the crowbar or the feet, how he's trying to get his balance, his feet, and then his feet just go to balance himself. Oh, he slips first and the crowbar falls on his head. All the sound effects work is great. It's like just big and I don't know what the word is, overemphasized enough. Exaggerated, over exaggerated. Oh yeah, I love this thing with the feet. Stern trying to break in with the crowbar, and then he just opens the door. And I feel like, you know, the part of the reason why I think Home Alone 2 is such a dumbass piece of shit is because everything that happens to Harry and Marv in the first movie feels like just bad enough. Like Stern gets the fucking iron on his face, and you get the imprint of the iron on his face, which is funny, you know, when he pulls the light switch. I mean, that would cause like major fucking head damage. But it's okay because we're in kind of like Roadrunner and Coyote territory now, and it's fine. It's good. All right, so now Pesci's made it up. He slipped on the ice twice, and now he reaches on the doorknob and burns his hand. I mean, lucky for Kevin that he had all this stuff in his hand, in his house, and was resourceful enough to know how to use it. I love this imprint of the doorknob and on Pesci's hand. It's really funny. That whole yes thing became a big thing for kids back in the early 90s. Yes. I love Stern on the steps with the tar and the way he like steps into each step and then on the nail. Oh man. And his scream is so funny. Now, why they continue to try and get in the house after being literally like burned and scarred and kicked the shit out of I don't really understand it. I mean, and this thing with the torch. I guess that's as close as we get to Pesci looking into the camera. Yeah, I mean, they've already broken into 2 houses in the neighborhood. Like, they got their shit. Like, why do they need to get into this house? Like, what? It's not like there's some like diamond or some microchip or something. Isn't that's what Home Alone 3 is, right? There's some microchip in. There's like literally nothing in the McAllister house that isn't in the other houses. So they don't really need to go into the house. It's just that their pride gets hurt and they just decide, well, fuck this kid. We're gonna show him. Oh yeah, this bit with Marv on the ornaments.
It's too late for you, kid. We're already in the house. We're gonna get there. Okay, come and get me.
This thing with the fan and him walking into the surround. That's pretty creative. That's really, really creative. And that got a huge laugh as well in the theater. Huge laugh. When you watch it on video or on TV now, it seems like he just walks in and the movie goes quiet. But the movie went quiet because the audience was howling with laughter. And then Marv steps on the ornaments. And I love this close up of his toe crushing the. So good. It's good. It's good shit. And now they finally. Why the hell did you take your shoes off? Why the hell you dressed like a chicken? Big laugh. I'm up here, you morons. And then the micro machines that we heard about in the first scene. Pick up those micro machines. There's the payoff. He put the micro machines out, and Harry and Marv slipped on them. And then you get the paint cans. From micro machines to paint cans, this is like all A+ territory here. I love the paint cans. And there's just little tricks in the editing where they fall kind of like out of frame and then they land on the floor and it makes it look like they're falling a slightly bigger distance than they actually are. Okay, so coming up in this next scene where Kevin calls 911. Hold on. Oh yeah, he calls 911 as Mr. Murphy. Hello, my house is being robbed. I actually thought as a kid I don't know why, but I didn't think he was doing an adult voice. I thought he was trying to sound like RoboCop because the character of RoboCop is Murphy, right? So I thought he was trying to sound like RoboCop. No, he was really just trying to sound like an adult guy. Okay, here's the payoff to the spider. Spider's just crawling around. When he's in danger, he finally gets the spider and puts it on Marv's face in a great shot. And Daniel Stern's like blood curdling scream is amazing. I mean, these guys get knocked out so many times. This is cute with the rope, and you get the reprisal of the theme. This is cool. I would want to do this. This whole like zip line thing from the house to the tree house. Oh yeah, this crowbar thing. Like, why does he think just flick the spider off of his chest, get it on the floor, and then smack it? But we're not in logic territory, right? Are we? I mean, he could have literally just like killed Pesci in that moment with the crowbar to the chest. And then you get Stuntman paired with close up of Kevin. It works. Oh, and then now we get to my favorite line in the movie. Which is maybe he committed suicide. Maybe he committed suicide. It's great. It's great. Now, Pesci's logic, Harry's logic here of not going through the house is sound, but that their next choice is to like go across the rope and hang there. Now, there's a continuity error here. They go onto the rope, and you see the rope in this close up, but when in the long shot when they're hanging, I think now in this long shot when they're hanging on the rope, or maybe in the close up when we cut back to them, it's like a black wire. Yeah, here when they're hanging on the rope, you don't see the brown of the rope. It's this black wire, and then it's back to being a brown rope when Kevin cuts it with the shears. I don't know what happened there, but maybe they realized they needed to get some close-ups. Another big laugh as they slam into the wall of the house. Audience laughing. So now Kevin's plan is essentially done. He has to run across the street to the Murphy's house, which unbeknownst to him has been flooded by Marv, who turned on the faucets because they're the wet bandits. And then in a moment we get the movie's first scene of like real fear and danger and threat when they turn the tables on him. Hiya, pal. But what are they going to do? I mean, is he literally going to bite his fingers off? But who comes to the rescue? The nice old man, who in this long shot, when you see him smack them with a mirror, clearly a stuntman. Here you go. Look, and clearly not the same actor. Like, not even close. The hairpiece doesn't match. Like, not even close. But back then, like, there was nothing they could do. Filmmakers, they had to hide it as best they could, cut as quickly as they could. You see that a lot in my other favorite Christmas movie from 1990, Die Hard 2. There's a lot of cuts to Bruce Willis and in the fight sequences, and now that we have video and DVD, and digital, you can clearly see that it's a stuntman in the hand-to-hand combat scenes, and then they cut to Bruce for the close-ups. But it's quick enough that you roll with it. They didn't have face replacement back in 1990. I love this version of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Who's this by? And the music choices really are perfect. Not just the songs themselves, but the versions of the song. Mel Torme. This is the Mel Torme version. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I love this version. And the Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree is by Brenda Lee. Run, Rudolph, Run is by Chuck Berry. Yeah. And so now you have Kevin. Everything is decorated. The presents are put out. He's in his robe. And all he's missing is his family. And we've been away from Mom and John Candy for a while. But now we're come back to them. And we talk about bad parents. And Candy's trying to make her feel better by talking about what bad parents they all are. He's never even met his kids. I wonder if this Candy dialogue was improvised. It feels like it was. Did it just get louder? Feels like it got louder. But there's nice all day. My friend Jay and I say that all the time. All day. There's a humanity to these performances that is entirely absent from Home Alone 2. And then you get the white Christmas. It's snowing. And you get this great outside shot of the McAllister house. And Kevin waking up on Christmas morning, hoping that his family has shown up. Again, he's on the red bed, red pajamas, green robe. And this scene is great. He runs downstairs. You got Somewhere in My Memory as he's calling for Mom. And then disappointment. That smile on Mac's face feels a little fake. But he goes back to this sad face. I don't know about you, but when I think of what a white Christmas looks like, this is kind of it. And he closes the door, and that's when the van shows up. Now, I don't know how I feel about Mom apologizing. I mean, I guess it makes sense that she would apologize for leaving him home alone. This is great. Why did we get so loud all of a sudden? And, you know, the music swells and finally mom is there. It always kind of gets me. It's really sweet. Mhm. Yep, see? It's right there. Got the little, it's a little welled up a little bit. Got the little goosebumps. It's a great moment. Now that the rest of the family shows up right now is crazy. And I never thought that the payoff line just hung around was funny enough. I always felt like there should have been something funnier, bigger, better. Again, none of the siblings look alike. No one in this family looks like anyone else other than maybe the redheaded kid and Catherine O'Hara. It's pretty cool that you didn't burn the place down. Fuck you, Buzz.
Wait a minute. How did you guys get home?
Oh, we took the morning flight. Remember the one you didn't want to wait for?
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Well, someone has to find an open store. We don't even have milk here. I'll be shopping.
I've always loved that line. We don't even have milk. Like milk is the most important thing to have.
I got your milk, eggs, and fabric shop.
No kidding. What a funny guy.
I mean, the fact that dad is not at all like fucking out of his mind and that they all just it's all just kind of like, oh, Kevin, you such a just hung around. He's so silly. Glad to be home. Like dad barely hugs him. Oh yeah, I've never liked this facial acting from Macaulay Culkin as he's like walking to the window. It's like a little too like you can hear Chris Columbus off camera going like, okay, now you're walking towards the window and you thing, but you're not quite sure what it is, and then you see Matt going like, it's like one of the very few like false note moments in his performance in the first movie. But that's okay because now we get him looking at his neighbor and that story has complete. I guess that's kind of like the C story as he's reunited with his son and his granddaughter. It's great, man. It's beautiful. You got that Macaulay Culkin smile. And then you got your final kind of laugh line. Kevin, what did you do to my room? So, do you think Kevin ever told his family about what happened? This is something I've wondered about. Do you think that Kevin ever, even like as an adult, ever said to his family, like, hey, remember when you guys left me home alone the first time? Like, here's what happened. And then when I got left in New York, like, it happened again. I'd like to see like a Cobra Kai style, like legacy sequel with, I was just talking about this with my friend Jay, with Kevin as an adult. And I wonder if it's like maybe a story that he tells his kids, but like nobody believes him because that kind of thing would never happen. But his kids believe him. And then, you know, terrorists take over a mall and he has to save the day. I think that would be the real Home Alone 3. But there's been like a straight to video Home Alone 4. There was a Disney Plus movie, Home Sweet Home Alone, that was like kind of a thing, like a remake thing. But I would be down for like a legacy sequel with Kevin as an adult who has to like use his resources to save his family at Christmas time. I could see something like that. And it's, it's kind of like, but it wouldn't have Harry and Marv, obviously. That would be ridiculous that they would show up for a third time. And you wouldn't I don't think you would do anything as stupid as like Harry's son or, Harry's long lost cousin who's trying to get revenge. No, I think it would just be like terrorists or bank robbers or whoever. And it would be at a mall, because at a mall you have like clothing stores and toy stores, and you have like the furniture department, and all those like different levels of department stores, the gardening section. It's kind of ripe. But I had this idea for Home Alone 2 that could have still happened in New York, could have still brought back Harry and Marv. But the thing that could have made it different was, what if Kevin and Buzz are like still at odds? You got the whole stupid thing with Buzz and the choir. But instead of just Kevin being alone, what if it's Kevin and Buzz that get separated from the family? And so then Kevin and Buzz are alone together in New York, and they're kind of at odds, but Harry and Marv show up, and Kevin has to like kind of save the day, but he and Buzz end up working together. Then it's Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2. There's two of them. This time there are two. That's what the voiceover said in the trailer for Terminator 2. But it feels like there's something kind of left, something left in the relationship between Kevin and Buzz that could have been really developed if they had any even original bone in their body when they made Home Alone 2 instead of just recycling the first movie. That could have been cool. And then you have Buzz, who's kind of like, a little bit of like a fish out of water. Like it's like Kevin's opportunity for Kevin to kind of show his ingenuity and his resourcefulness with Buzz, and Buzz then has like a real reason to be impressed by Kevin, not just like, it's pretty cool you didn't burn the place down, or like whatever he says at the end of the second movie. Okay, that's my pitch for the real Home Alone 2, or like in the Home Alone Legacy sequel, Buzz and Kevin are like, estranged, and they finally get to resolve things from the past. Anyway, Home Alone is still one of my favorite movies, despite all the shit talking I do about it. It's a really great movie. Just, a movie from my childhood that will never not, I will be watching it until the day I die. Maybe not the day I die, but I'm definitely going to watch it every Christmas for the rest of my life. And it's become a family favorite, a movie that my daughter loves watching. She likes Home Alone 2, and I told her she can watch Home Alone 2 as much as she wants. But I hope that when she gets older, she watches Home Alone with her family, and that it lives on. I think that it will. So that's it. Thanks for being here. Nobody showed up. But that's okay. I hope you enjoy the replay, and I hope you have a great holiday season. I'm going to continue to do these watch-alongs every month. I don't know what I'm going to do for January yet. I'm thinking about doing Beautiful Girls, which came out in 96, I believe. So it would be the 30th anniversary of Beautiful Girls. Let's look at that while we're still here. Beautiful Girls. Yeah, it came out in February 9th, 1996. So maybe I save it for February. Maybe I do it in January. That might be a good 30th anniversary movie to do. And that also kind of takes place in the snow. It's like a great high school reunion movie with a great cast. Okay, that's it. Thanks for being here. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching Home Alone with me. I'll see you next time.